Hello, all, and welcome to tonight's bourbon whiskey review. Yeah, bourbon whiskey. I forgot. Yeah, I should probably go and be a little bit more careful in my classifications right there. And I don't edit anything. I just go straight into it, one shot all the way through. And if the video is crap, which is pretty rare, I'll go and reshoot it again if possible. But if not, you get to see everything: the spilled beers, the tears, the noises in the background, the whole dealio. And anyway, so what am I going to dub this review? Well, um, I don't know, Jamaican patty review. Because Thursdays I generally eat Jamaican patties for lunch now. Because there's a little place that opened up by where the rest home where my grandfather now lives. And, after I'm done visiting him every Thursday, I go over there and I buy like a Jamaican patty with cocoa bread and shove it inside the cocoa bread, traditional Jamaican style, and eat that. And it's cheap, it's very filling, and it feels good to support very small businesses here in Hawaii. Anyways, what are we reviewing today? Well, I kind of saved the most interesting and the most expensive of the bourbons that was gifted to me by, well, whiskeys, because one of them wasn't a bourbon. That was gifted to me by my friend Randall here, and this is Peerless Small Batch Kentucky Bourbon Whiskey. Now, why is this the most interesting? Well, because I've never had a sweet mash bourbon before. Most bourbons are sour mash, and what that means is that much like how sourdough bread has a starter of the previous dough that is used to, create the yeast, rising yeast in the bread, sour mash generally uses a bit of the last, fermentation, the stuff that makes the fermentation to generate the next batch of bourbon. Well, you, sweet mash whiskey doesn't. They go in straight use yeast, and that means that there's a higher chance for contamination of the mash, but it also lends to a bit more control of the flavor profile, as well as a somewhat lighter flavor and mouthfeel. That said, this is still going to be pretty heavy because this is barrel proof. Yes, this is 109.3 proof. That's 54.65% alcohol by volume. And this is also, the age statement on this is about 4 years. So I'll get a little bit more into that. So yeah, let's go and read the back now, shall we? Kentucky Peerless Distilling Company, Louisville, Kentucky. With an unparalleled 100-year history, we preserve the quality surpassed by none, peerless caliber standards set by ancestor Henry Craver. This rich and mellow small batch bourbon is distilled, bottled, and aged in Louisville, Kentucky Bourbon District. So non-chill filtered, sweetly strict mash, no water added, barrel proof. So yeah, some heavy stuff, man. So this is fairly young. While the company's name and reputation is pretty old, the original company died during Prohibition, and it was recently resurrected by a new batch of distillers. And apparently, looking on Reddit, there's some controversy about the distiller and the distillery. I cannot figure it out for the life of me. If any of you guys want to kind of like give it a quick and simple breakdown, because it all seems really esoteric to me about like what qualifies as what, and as well as price point. And let me just mention price point right here. This is listed as $70, and a lot of people don't feel like this is a $70 whiskey. That said, I can already tell you from my pre-tasting that it's a pretty good whiskey. I've never had a $70 bourbon whiskey before. I'm going to go and defer to people who regularly drink $70 bourbon whiskeys in their judgment that this is not quite a $70 bourbon whiskey. But, it's I found it pretty darn good. So with that, let's get to this already, shall we? Just a wee bit more since, because why not? Why wouldn't I? Life is short. Drink whiskey and beer. Okay. It's got a nice amber orange color. I'm not sure why I always mention it because bourbon whiskeys, they don't have much difference in coloration, I find. You have like different shades of this sort of burnt amber orange color. Fairly thick legging. Actually, pretty darn thick legging. It really holds up. Hmm. So there's a fruitiness to the nose that's reminiscent to me of baked apples or cherries. Cinnamon rye spice there, that's that sort of cinnamony, pepperminty kind of rye smell. Actually, let me go and see if I have the malt bill here. No, it's undisclosed, but it seems fairly high rye. Vanilla. No real citrus in this one, I'm finding in the nose. Much more stone fruit and kind of pomace fruit kind of smells, I'm finding. Well, baked ones, not like fresh cut ones, but baked fruit. Pretty healthy ethanol dose right there that makes nosing kind of hard. Vanilla has almost like a creamy aspect to it, a butteriness to it. And just a hint of wood too in the nose as well. Fairly sweet smelling. Onto the palate now, shall we? So 54 and change alcohol proof. Well, by volume, alcohol by volume. 109 proof. I think Old Grandad, the one that I reviewed earlier, is about that high too. Okay, down it goes. Well, on it goes, I suppose. A bit hard to suss out because the alcohol content is pretty high here. So, feeling some of the heat. Just acclimating my palate to it. So pretty big. Excuse me. I need to get a glass of water for this one. Thank goodness I have my hydro flask right here. It'll serve this purpose perfectly. So pretty big rye pepperiness and spice in the finish, along with woodiness. Up front, you get an interesting mixture of sort of, I think it's pretty undefined fruitiness. I can't really suss out the fruit per se, but there's some fruitiness there. And it's almost mixed with like this kind of butterscotch um, taste and also kind of feeling on the palate as well. Um, over the alcohol, of course. In the mids and into the finish is almost pipe tobacco like aspect. Like I said, Virginia Perique, as I mentioned in the previous review. I should go and bring out like one of the tins of like a Virginia Perique tobacco or something, so you can get a sense of what I mean. But yeah, honestly, I kind of wonder for people who do smoke tobacco, because people always go and pair cigars with whiskey. I want for people who can successfully, combine those two things. I kind of really wonder what the experience of having something like this that has that kind of fruity yet spicy aspect would be like with that fruity and spicy aspect of Virginia Perique tobacco. And that's only a pipe tobacco because those kind of leaves can't be rolled in the cigar. Unlike some pipe tobacco leaves like Latakia and just straight Perique. Straight Perique by itself doesn't have sweetness to it. You need that Virginia to add that sweetness and that fruitiness. There's some woodiness in the finish, particularly the long finish. But yeah, not too much of that wood and barrel aspect there. The flavors are pretty intense in this, if difficult to suss out due to the alcohol level being what it is. Yeah, there's now a bit of citrus that's kind of appearing to me around the edges, sort of an orange peel, dried orange peel aspect. But that's secondary to kind of sweet fruitiness, sweet indistinct fruitiness um, in the front to mids. Kind of want to try this on the rocks actually, but I have no rocks because I don't keep ice in my refrigerator. Why don't I keep ice in my refrigerator? Well, you can't see it right here, but I generally avoid ice in my drinks because I have a bad habit of unconsciously chewing ice after I'm done with a drink. I'll be like, and then I'll just let the ice go into my mouth, kind of roll it around in there, and then it's like, oh dang, So to preserve my teeth, I kind of stay away from ice in general. Oh, there goes my phone. Who's texting me this late? Well, let's see. It's almost like a live stream right here, huh? Oh, nothing. It's just the live stream. Man, that fly's still alive. There's been a fly in my house for like several days, and somehow it has not died yet. I don't know why. Top note is fairly indistinct. I think that's mostly due to the alcohol level. You got to see the alcohol level is so high that it's more burning my nose than me being able to get some distinct sense out of it. But I guess like that butterscotch kind of flavor is really the strongest top note. I do like this though. I kind of want to try it on the rocks, really. Just to get that heat level down a little bit from the barrel proofing. So, Peerless Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. What can I say about this? Well, it's pretty good, but is it $70 good? You know what the list price is? Honestly, if you put a bottle of like you know, Wild Turkey, the Wild Turkey 101 versus this, I'd go for the Wild Turkey. It's smoother, has a bit more taste notes, while still being very high proof. This is this is perfectly good. It's perfectly good as like I say a $30 whiskey, I suppose. Um, and it is interesting enough to go and revisit again because those flavors are pretty intense. But at the same time, you know, getting past that alcohol burn and also to the fact that there's not really any unique notes that really stand out from it. Like, I wouldn't be able to tell that this is, a sweet mash versus sour mash. And honestly, I think it would take a lot of whiskey drinking to go and do that. And as you probably noticed, I'm more of a beer man. That's what I go and review the most of. So, I think like a lot of the aspects that sell this particular bourbon are kind of wasted on me. Namely barrel proofing, because after a certain level, the alcohol makes it difficult for me to taste. And, the unique twists like the sweet mash versus the more common sour mash. But damn, is it pretty intense in flavor. I got to give it that. I guess that's what I'm enjoying about it, is just the intensity of the flavor. And that nice butterscotch. That's pretty good. I'll give it that. That's a pretty good and unique flavor note right there. So yeah, if you smoke pipe tobacco, like I think maybe a couple of my subscribers follow me due to the few things I do regarding tobacco, this might be something to go and pair up if you're into whiskey and smoking at the same time. Um, but yeah, if you're a rich man and can spend $70 on a bottle of something that is, interesting enough, I suppose, then yeah. But if you're a poor man like me, yeah, you're gonna rely on generous friends like Randall to go and give you the experience of something like this. And yeah, I'm definitely going to try this on the rocks. I really want to go. Well, heck, I still got about a touch of the bit of this Glencairn here. Why not? Why wouldn't I? Let's go and give this a little dash of water right here. Just a little few drops. Let's go and see what happens, my friends. Huh. So the nose became perceptibly sweeter. Yeah, I'm liking this a lot better now. It still has a lot of those flavor notes that I like. Cherries, the fruitiness is more like cherries. There's still got that orange peel there. And the woodiness from the barrel is much more apparent in the long finish. Pepperiness is greatly reduced, but it's still there in the finish as well as in the front, I suppose. Yeah, yeah, definitely getting some of that rye up there. And I can also now taste the sort of corn aspect as well. So kind of a mild taste of sweet corn as well. I added a little bit too much water. Bring that down by half a dash or so. But yeah, I think adding water to this allowed it to express itself a little bit better. And you might want to try that for yourself. Um, do add a little bit less than I did, or add it as a cube of ice to slowly melt. You can watch that flavor evolve over a long period. That is basically why you would add like ice to whiskey, so you can have it pretty strong up front, and then watch it as it evolves as that ice melts. I don't usually do that because I find that after about a third of the cube has melted, it becomes a little bit too watery for me to really review. It's still enjoyable to drink, but a lot of the a lot of the taste notes become too faint or too indistinct to really successfully suss out after a certain level. But yeah, this was a pretty interesting one to review. Um, and that's why I saved it for last, I think. So I'm probably going to do like a series of verticals. I'm not going to drink all four bourbons at once because that would be a grave mistake on my part, in which I would be regretting most of the next day and possibly the days after. But yeah, it's 25-minute mark. Didn't expect it to go this long, really, but I ramble on sometimes. Interesting, and if you got the money to kind of go and spend on this, definitely go and give it a try. I say, but I'm not one of those whiskey guys who says, yeah, definitely not worth it. Um, it'd be interesting to go and see what older expressions of this taste like, but I'm probably never going to go and try that. Mainly because older expressions would allow it to kind of tame that heat a little bit more. Okay, come on. Back. Come on, back. There we go. There we go. And that, folks, is your bourbon whiskey review for this evening. Thanks again to Randall for donating these bottles to me. It was wonderful reviewing all of them, and I'm sure it's going to be fun seeing them side by side against each other. And that, folks, is your bourbon review for this evening. Cheers.